Hello and Assalamu alaikum. This video is specifically made for, you can say, the students who make mistakes in variations topics in direct proportions and as well as the inverse proportions. So I've taken few of the questions and then we'll let you know that what are the common mistakes. First of all, try to understand the question, what's being asked in the question. Look at the statement that is varies directly. If it is written varies directly, or we can say directly proportional, and the last one, if it is written without any, you can say, mentioning of the direct thing, means directly is not mentioned. So what we have to do, if they are saying that y is proportional in few of the questions, if they mention y is proportional to square of x or anything, so all of these categories are related to the direct proportions. Okay, do remember this is related to only and only direct proportions. We will discuss about the inverse later on, but remember, if any one of the three is mentioned in the question, you must understand what it is. Okay, it's related to direct proportions. So if the question is direct proportion, you must understand how to write down the first step of this particular question. Okay, I'm writing down this. Y varies directly, y is directly proportional, and then square of x raised to the power of 2. It will be fine. If you are not reading the question correctly, then you may do a mistake, like you will be writing y and proportionality sign and 1 over x square. That will be wrong. Okay, first of all, try to focus on the question, what's being discussed in the question. Okay, this is a very first step. Try to understand whether it is varies directly, or it's directly proportional, or just proportional. These are the categories for direct proportions. For inverse proportion, I'm just, you can say, letting you know right now, they're mentioning y varies inversely, or we can say it is inversely proportional, and there is no such third kind of category. So do focus on the inverse kind of things as well. So I'm mentioning, if they say inversely proportional, or if they say varies inversely, the first one varies inversely, next one is inversely proportional, and the last one is not having that kind of thing. There are two just categories for inverse proportion. So one thing is this, the other one is, most of the students, you can say, they may do a mistake, like if they do not read the question clearly, square of x, sometimes they forget the square thing. They will just write down y is proportional to x. This thing is not the correct way. This is wrong, because they're mentioning square of x. Just do remember this thing, do read the question again and again. This is the thing you just need to remember. Okay, I'm going to solve this question, and during the question I will let you know that few of the students have done this mistake, so that's why I'm repeating this question again. If they say y is proportional to x, y equals to kx squared. First of all, find the value of k. This is the first step of these type of questions. Write down in place of y 1 over 5, and k will be written as it is, and x squared is basically 1 over 2x squared. Some students do mistake that they will not take the square of, you can say, the complete thing. Okay, they can write down 1 by 2, because once they have done the first method incorrectly, they can do mistake here. So 1 by 5 equals to k times 1 by 4. Now you can see what we have to do for finding the value of k. K is already in the numerator kind of thing. Why? Because there is no denominator kind of thing written below that k. It means that it will be multiplied with 1, or 4 is being divided by k, or you can do direct processes. 4 is being cross multiplied with 1. 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 will be divided, or you can say 1 times 5 is always 5. It's paper 1 question. No need to convert this thing. Few of the students have done mistake that they may write down it as 5 by 4. K is 5 by 4. It is wrong. It is not same as 4 by 5, because 5 over 4 results in 1.25. It results in 1.25. It is not the same thing as 4 by 5 is 0.8. So how we can say 0.8 equals 1.25? No, not at all. Just remember what's being done. It's very simple mathematics. If k and 1 are going to multiply, 1 is basically to be divided onto the other side. K is already in the numerator. If it is in the denominator, then we can do some of the other process. But here you just remember 4 is to be cross multiplied with 1, and this one is to be multiplied with 5. That results in the value of k. Few of the students will do mistake. I'm just mentioning again. This is the incorrect way. Okay, I'm just cutting down the incorrect process. So next thing, you can say we have to put this value in the equation connecting x and y. It results in y equals to 4 over 5 and x squared. Some students have done this mistake in most of the questions. I'm just mentioning just one question. Most of the students will do mistake like they are not mentioning the x squared term. If they're done like this, it is wrong, because the question is mentioning x squared term and they are forgetting x squared term in the next processes, means putting the values of k into that equation. At that process, if they have forgot, the result is wrong. So here I'm just putting the value of x equals to 10 and finding y. So y equals to 4 over 5 and times 10 square, which results in 80. You can check your answers. So I hope so all of you understand. Just try to remember the concept of simple multiplication, division. Try to focus on, you can say, the statement as well. Just read the statement again and again. Most of the problems will be solved by reading again. Okay, so moving ahead to some inverse type of questions in which you may do a mistake. So I'm just quickly shifting to it. Sometimes most students are not reading correctly. So if they do this question as y is proportional to x, it will be wrong, because they are mentioning it is inversely proportional. For inversely proportional, we write down proportionality sign with taking the reciprocal of the term which is written after inversely proportional. We write down 1 over x. After it, we can remove this sign and directly put k into the numerator and then x. After in this, I'm just mentioning one of the steps and then moving ahead. So y is 1 over 6 and when x is 30. So some students may do a mistake like this. They are, you can say, dividing 6 by 30 after cross multiplication. It is the incorrect way, because 30 is the denominator of k. K is already in the numerator. We are not going to shift k's value. We are just shifting 30, and 30 is being multiplied with 1. 30 times 1 is 30 and divided by 6 results in 5 for the value of k. This process is incorrect because it gives us 1 over 5. 1 over 5 is not same as 5. Okay, just remember these concepts. Which thing you have to do at which step. Okay, most of the students do, you can say, they cut down 5 over 10. Okay, I'm doing the next step again. And then we'll let you know that by putting this value into the equation connecting x and y, and then when x is 10 and x is 10, they're writing down 5 over 10. And after this, after the cutting down 5 one times and 5 two times, you can see 10 was in the denominator and it's being cut and it's being, you can say, solved as 2, and 5 is being cut and it is solved as 1. So 1 is in the numerator and 2 is in the denominator. Why you are dealing it as y equals to 2? I'm not understanding why it looks like this, because 2 is already in the denominator. So can it be like this if we say y equals to 1 over 2? is basically simplified as 0.5. So can 0.5 be similar to y equals to 2? Definitely it's not. 0.5 will basically having different type of answer than the value of 2. So this is incorrect thing. Just remember this thing. This is the main thing I have just focused. Most of the students have done these kind of mistakes. So there is one other thing that I have to, you can say, make you sure that read the question again, and if there is a simplified fraction you have done, that is fine. No need to convert that into decimal point if it is paper 1 question. Okay, no need to have any kind of, we can say, conversion into decimals and taking your time for the paper. It will be having, you can say, it will take you some more time, and few of the questions may be left, you can say, empty, you can say, because of the non, you can say, management of the time. Okay, time management is very, very, very important for solving any kind of exam. So moving ahead and making understand few more types. In this question, they're mentioning equation connecting x and y is basically, you can say, starting from this, y is inversely proportional to the square of x. Okay, remember this concept, square. It will be y and proportionally sign k over x square. So after, you can say, after this, we have to put an equal sign with a constant k and x square. Sometimes if they're mentioning equation connecting x and y, it is same as expression of express. If they say express y in terms of x, it will be the same thing as equation connecting x and y, because expression of y in terms of x is basically y is written first because it's mentioned in the question, and once we have the value of k, just putting the value of k, once you will solve, I'm just mentioning here, it will be looking like this: y equals to 12 over x squared. It will be like this. Okay, don't forget the value of x squared thing. Okay, if you forget, if you write down y equals to 12 over x, it will be wrong, and it will be having effect on the next question as well. So next question, where is p lying? Okay, okay, just one more thing. In the table type of question, you can take any of the values for finding the value of k. Means when x was 2, y was 3. If you take these two values, that's sufficient. But there is one other condition which is given: when x was 4, y was 3 over 4. If you put these two values into the same equation, that will be fine for finding the value of k. Okay, just remember, look at the table, which two values are, you can say, related to each other. One more thing, if you put x equals to 2 and here by mistake you do y equals to 3 by 4, at that point when x is 2, it will be wrong. Okay, it's a wrong process. You have to take the same value which is written below that value of x, that must be 3. When x is 2, y was 3, putting these two exact values, that will be having the correct value for k. In the next portion, you may have to find the value of p. So p is basically written in front of x. So using the same equation that is being that is being formed in part A. So y is to be written as 48 because the value is given, and 12 over x squared is basically p squared. Now remember this thing, you can cross multiply or directly swapping the values, it will be fine. 48 p squared equals to 12, and then divided by 48 will be divided. It's paper 1 question, so it's not that much hard. If you feel, if you found the correct answer through any of the means, it will be fine. So 12 and 48's highest common factor is 12. So cut down these two values. So p squared equals to 1 over 4. It will not be 4. 1 by 4 cannot be written as 4. So after taking square root, the result must be 1 by 2, the positive one, because they mentioned only the value. So just write down the value here, because square root of 1 is, because we have done the square root thing. Okay, remember this thing, square root of thing. So the square root of 1 must be 1 and square root of 4 must be 2. So moving ahead to some other you can say thing here, it's also the inverse and square of x. Okay, I hope so there will be no issues in part A. So you have solved this thing through any of the processes. I'm just moving ahead to the next thing. What it looks like, you have to describe when x is half. Just remember at the statement, look at the statement. It gives us y equals to k over x squared, because y and square of x are inversely proportional. Okay. So what we have to do, they are saying that when x is half, what does half means? X value must be taken as x by 2 in the next process. The input thing is changed to half. So if we take any value of x and take half of it, what it looks like, you can say what it make any changes for y. We have to look at the changes for y. So remember, when y equals to you can say when x equals to half, it means that we have to take the square of the complete thing. Okay, if you forgot a square of 2, it will be wrong. So you can write down y equals to k and overall divided by x squared over 4. So denominator x squared over 4 is the complete, you can say, fraction involved in the denominator. So the denominator of the denominator will be multiplied with the numerator. So we can write down y equals to 4 and times k over x squared. So k over x squared was the original value. You can see it was the original value, and it was equals to y. So we can see that if we take half of the value of x, it will be 4 times. It's multiplied the 4 times. We can write down the value of y. Value of y becomes 4 times the original value, becomes 4 times the original value. So if there is some kind of different kind of question which is given, like for the direct proportion or any kind of question, you just put the correct value of x. Say if they say, okay, I'm giving just one more question. If they say y is directly proportional and value of x is half, what you have to do? Y is directly proportional to square of x. Y is directly proportional to square of x, and the value of x is half. The value of x is half. So what we have to do? So you can say it looks like y equals to kx squared. So in the next process, it will be y equals to it will be x over 2 and whole squared. So what it looks like, it will be y equals to, we can say it will be, sorry, pardon. So it looks like y equals to k and x squared over 2 squared is 4. So we can say we can write down y equals to 1 by 4th of kx squared. We can see the value of y becomes 1 by 4th of the original value. So if any kind of condition is given, you just need to read the question again and again, and what exactly value you need to put for x. Okay, so I hope so all of you understand these processes. These are some important points for the variations process, variations questions, and there are some of the mistakes that have been discussed here. So I hope so all of you understand this. If you have still any queries left, you may write down in the chat box. So stay tuned and subscribe my channel if you haven't, and share as well. So Allah Hafiz from now.